Hello, this is Sabine at Cross Keys Crafts. Today I would like to show you a fun technique which is called ink-smooshing, and I'm going to do it two ways. Once I want to quickly show you how you can do this with water reacting ink pads, but I've also got my dinkles ready here because I'd like to try with that. I haven't done it yet, but I'm sure it'll work. All you need to do for that is a surface that is smooth, and I'm just using this sleeve here because if I mess it up I can ditch it, and it also allows me to pick this up, put the cardstock underneath and basically smoosh this way so I can see what's happening. But you can also use a glass mat if you've got that. I've also used in the past like a kitchen foil, anything that is sort of smooth that doesn't take the water, as in the water doesn't seep in, so it stays on top. So all you need for that, as I said, you need some ink pads. I'm just showing you just one colour for now, so I'm just dabbing my ink pad on here, and then I've got my, oh, this is the wrong bottle, I need my water bottle, bear with me. So I've got my water bottle here, and I'm just putting water on this, and I can use a brush to just move these round a bit as well. Oops. And then all you do is you take your cardstock. I've got a medium cardstock here. You can use watercolor cardstock, but I usually find it works like this. So you can just dab it into this and see what happens. Lift it up, and then you've got these splatters. There are two ways again of dealing with this. Either you apply a different colour now and just go over this, or if you like the look of this, ideally you dry this. I shall quickly do this off screen and then show you how you apply a second colour. So I've heat set this colour. It's not completely dry, but these bits here, they will stay as they are. And don't do what I did, get your heat tool too close to your foil, because that will melt it. So I can now apply a second colour. I will just use my mermaid. I'm just thinking, or do I use a different colour? Oh, I think I will go bold and use a pink instead. So I've got this Harmony Spectrum Noir Fuchsia. I think that would look nice. And you can already see this is a bit drier. And it does actually dissolve differently, so different inks will dissolve differently. So I show you now the version where I put this there, and then if I lift this over, I can determine where I put the pink. If I say determined, it's not an exact thing, and that's the fun of it, because you can actually play around a bit. And this is again why I put some protection, some paper underneath, because it does get a bit messy. And I think with this one I will introduce a third colour. Again, if I don't want the third colour to mix with this, I will have to heat set this. But I think for the demonstration of this video, just leave it as it is. And I can just wipe this off. And I'll go for some blue, I think. The important thing is that you choose water reactive inks. I'll try the blue on the dark denim. I hope it's not too dark. I'll just use a little bit. So, and if I find I've got too much water on there, I can dip this up as well. And again, this time I'm turning it around again so I know where I'm applying it. And you can just fold the sheet like this and just put a bit where you want it. Putting a bit here and there. There you go. I'm leaving this to dry now, as I said, you can use your heat tool on it, but I think it'll be fine drying like this. If you find you've got puddles on there, you can just take them off again with some paper tissue. You can also use, if you find you've got bits there, you can also use your paper tissue and just go onto the sheet itself. But I think I will just use just a little bit more residue on there. You can use your fingers as well to apply some pressure. Okay, so this is the one where you use the ink pads, and I'm going to show you how to do this with the dinkles. With the dinkles, I suggest you put the water on first, because I believe that if you spray the water on it, or I know that when you spray the water on it, the powder will spray a bit all over your surface. So it's probably better to just wet this first. So, and I'm just using my dinkles from the pot with a little hole like this, and this time I'm mixing them all in, and I'm just using the amethyst, the pink, and I've also got this porcelain, which I believe gives a little bit of a pastel look, and that will go with the theme of my card. So, and I can't see very much at the moment, but I'm sure that when I press the cardstock in it, this will sort of melt onto the card. So I'm just pressing it down like this. You can always see it's squishing out there. And look at that. That is really, really cool. And again, if you want to be a bit more precise with this, let me just get another piece of cardstock. I can show you what else you can do. So you can obviously lift this up and just apply this as before. I said precise, obviously it's, as I said before, it's not an exact thing, you just have a play with it, but this time you can see where you've got the ink, and you can just move it around a little bit as well. This is quite nice. And you get this sort of lovely marble pattern. And if you find you need another colour, you can just go in, or because of this is not very absorbent, I can try and pick this colour up here as well. And I think I'll introduce another colour to this as well. So as before, I'm just going to mop this up. This actually sticks a bit better to the foil, so I need to loosen that up again. And I think I will use some yellow on it. So water on first, yellow dinkles. Quite a bit there, so I will actually apply some water over this now. So, and then put this down first, and then I can see where I'm applying this. And it is great fun. I love this sort of arts. So, and I can see I haven't got any yellow there, so I'm just taking my foil here and just pressing the residue down there. And again, I've got a bit of a puddle in the middle, so I'm just picking this up with my tissue. And yeah, I think this is really, really cool. So I'm leaving these to dry now, and then I come back and show you which cards I'm creating from these backgrounds. So my backgrounds are nearly dry. I just want to show you what they look like. This was the first one with the stamp pads, the lime green, that was the future, and that was the blue denim. But in comparison to these two, you can actually see how dull the colours are, and that's again a reason why it's worth getting the Dinkers. Look at the colours in these, they're really, really vibrant. So I'm going to do something different with this. I'm keeping this, I'm thinking about just using some splatter over the top, maybe in white, maybe some silver, use my mica watercolours. So just to jazz this up a little bit, so I'll be using this for a different project, but today for my two cards I would like to use these two Dinkers backgrounds because they're really, really cool, I think. Anyway, so for these two cards today, I would like to use the Better with Ice Cream stamp set from Visible Image. I think this is really nice. This is really summery. You've got the ice cream cone here with a soft ice cream and a 99, and then you've got this ice cream cone and a separate scoop here that you can place on top, and then you've got various sentiments: have a chilled day, congratulations, life is better with ice cream, and you're the coolest. I really, really like this, and I think it's versatile, and I think it's one of those motifs. It brings you joy when you look at ice cream like that. So I have already started stamping and heat embossing these, but I want to tell you a little bit about my experience, which is a repeated experience. Pardon me. So today I used my black embossing powder again, and if you've been watching my videos, I've explained that a few times. With the black embossing powder, and you can see this here as well, that sprays. So if you want a neat look, it's worth stamping in black ink, just your normal VersaFine black onyx, or another similar black ink, and heat embossing in clear. In the clear embossing powder might spray as well when you apply it, but it won't show as much as this does. I don't know if the camera picks that up. I've got speckles everywhere, but that's okay for me today. I've said that before with the Visible Image, because all the stamps have got a grungy look to them anyway. I don't mind this, and I'm going to fussy cut this anyway. What I did though with these is, and I want to show you the difference between the two, is I applied the heat from the back of the cardstock, because what happens when you apply it from the front, it just sprays around as soon as you hit it, even if it's on a full heat. So this one is for the bin. I actually stopped heat embossing them because it just sprayed everywhere, and that was one thing that has to go in the bin. Also, I did it again here on this one, but this one's not too bad. It's got a bit of a gap there in the A, but I can just use my black gel pen on this and nobody will ever know that this is not fine. And again here I've got quite a bit of spray of the, this little speckles, but it doesn't matter really. But as I said, if you want a clear image, you better use clear embossing powder over black ink. So I've already started colouring some of these in, and this is very easy to do. I just used my Memento Desert Sand. You can also use a vintage photo, anything, any like a light colour. And I used my finger dauber, but because I am going to cut this anyway, it doesn't matter. You can also use a bigger blending brush, and just use this on here, and just starting at the bottom, went over here, made sure I didn't cover these two bits here because that's ice cream, and then that's a bit easier with the ink dauber. You can also use, if you've got a small stencil brush, something like this, you could use that if you just want to get into these bits. All you need to do is just apply a little bit of colour, and that's all there is to it. And the same with the ice cream. Again, this one, by the way, is one that I didn't stamp properly. So yeah, I'm going to just colour these in with my different colours, and then I'll show you what I do with the ice cream cones. I just wanted to show you this one. I wasn't quite happy with a solid light colour here. I just used this one from a Paper Craft Society box. So I just went in with my Lavinia elements, Sundance, and just did a bit of shading here on the side, and it makes it look a bit nicer and more three-dimensional. I've also coloured in my ice cream flake here, sorry, the chocolate flake, just with my truffle, and this one here I decided to leave white, and I'll show you later why. So all I need to do now is to cut these out, and I don't really like fussy cutting, so I'm just making this a really quick job. I'm just going to cut along here really straight. For that I'm just cutting this along here and just use my normal scissors. You could do a squiggly line if you wanted to, but I'm just not bothered. And these stamps make it quite easy actually, because the line is really thick, so it's not too difficult to cut along the line. If you find you've got excess that keeps you from cutting, just cut it off, and then you can cut really freely. So, and for the round bits, I like to use my nail scissors. So I'm just cutting around here. Oh, I've zoomed in. I hope I'm not going off screen there. And then this allows me to really easily cut it out like this. And again, there is a little bit here. I just cut that off and nobody will ever know. So, and if I've got a curve going that way around, I just turn my scissors round and cut from the top. Just round there, where I hopefully meet this line here. There we go. So all that's left for me to do now is I'm going to get my black blending brush out. You can also use a black felt tip pen or alcohol marker, but I find sometimes that leaks or seeps into the paper on the top. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use my ink blending brush and just cover the edges. So it's easy here where I've got a lot of black at the bottom, but I have to be careful where I've got the yellow on the top, because I don't want to cover that. So really just from the bottom, just the bristles just touch the edges just a little bit without going over. And you can see from the side where you have coloured it in and where you still need to do it. And it gives a much neater look to the die cut or the fussy cut piece. So I shall do this with all the pieces now, and then I come back. So as I mentioned before with the sentiment, you can use the gel pen as well to hide some lines where you haven't fussy cut it properly. I don't know if you can see that. I've got a few white bits here. So rather than trying to cut them again, I'm just using my gel pen and I'm just colouring these in. There's one, a bit there. And then it looks like I've fussy cut this properly. And for the sentiment here, I just wanted to show you how you do that. Because you've got the embossed bits, it's sometimes a bit difficult to just go over the whole letter. So all I would do, just make sure it's free flowing, and I would just dab the ink on here and just fill this in where I need to fill it in. That's all I need to do. I'm leaving this to dry, and you can't really see where anything is missing and where you've got the gel pen instead. For the 99, I need to cut a little slit in the ice cream there to just pop this one in, and I think I'll just do it here. And I haven't checked their suggestion how they do it or where they place it, but that looks like a good spot for me. So I'm making sure it'll fit. Yeah, So that's perfect. So I'm just going to glue that in place. Just pop a bit of glue here in the back. Slide that in here. And press this down. And the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to use again my black marker. This wants to pop off a little bit. I think I will put a bit of tape on the back there in a moment as well. So, but I will use my black gel pen again, and I will just go along this line so it doesn't look too harsh and it doesn't look like it's just a cut line. It looks like it's part of the design. And again, I'm just dabbing it on. And let me show you up close. There you go. So this looks like it's properly stuck into the ice cream. So I'm leaving this to dry. Might even put a bit of a weight on there. But I want to show you now what I'm doing with my other ice cream cones. I want to give these some dimension. They're really nice as they are, but I think they would be nicer if they actually had some dimension to them. So I'm just using my the end here of my paintbrush, and I'm just very lightly bending the ice cream cone over this. Try not to do it too much. You don't want the embossing powder to crack or anything, but just a little bit here on the cone. And on the top, I'm just using my brush here just to bend this a little bit. I hope you can see what I'm doing. I'm just using my finger at the bottom, and I'm just creasing this a little bit round because I want this to have a bit of a rounder shape. You can also do it from this side. If you find your cardstock is a bit too thick, you might want to dampen a little bit with a bit of a mist of water. But this is all the dimension I want to this. Let me show you from the back. So this is all I need. And now I can apply foam strips just in the middle here, and on the top again, just in the middle here. And when this sits on the card, this has got some dimension to it. So I shall quickly do this and I'll show you this in a second. So I have put the foam strips on the back of the card. So I use these thin foam strips. I can link to them below. I got them off Amazon a few years ago, and they're really useful for fine jobs like that. I could have put a foam pad on the top, but I'm not sure that my foam pads are the same thickness as these strips, so I'd rather cut a few strips apart and put them on the top. So I did that with both of these, so I can use them on one card. I just wanted to show you how you can change the look of your backgrounds by changing the matting color. So this one's with a yellow card base. I'm going to put a white panel on the inside later, and this one's with a purple base, picking up these colors in the background. So it gives quite a different look to this. You could also use some black cardstock in the back, which would make the color pop really, and then would tie in with the black embossing powder. So the other thing I want to show you is how you can change the look of your sentiments. Very easy to do. Obviously you can just pop them on like this, but I find them a wee bit boring. So you can either use your corner rounder. By the way, I tried to Google this and find this one is really good, but I can't find it. Don't know where I got it from. So this gives a really, really nice look to this. And also I find it goes with the round shape of the ice cream. I think it's a bit more pleasing to the eye. And the other idea is, just because this is a really harsh white, and most of this now is in colour, you can use your ink dauber again or your ink blending brush and just go around the edges like you did with the ice cream. So I'm just using the pink here. Any colour, I wouldn't introduce a new colour, just choose a colour that you've got on the background or on the die cut images or stamped images. Just go around like this. and this takes away from the harshness of the white just a little bit. It just ties in so much more easily. So I'm going to stick these down now. I will use 2 of these on this card, and this one I actually decided to leave flat as it is. I'm not going to round this because I wasn't quite sure how that would work with the flake here. So, but I will still put this up on foam strips, sorry. I'm going to put this up here and I'll show you the finished cards in a moment. This is the first finished card. I hope you can see the dimension there. I think this is really nice, it being rounded on the top, and I put the sentiment on a foam strip as well. So I really like this one, how this one turned out. Now with this one, I forgot one important thing, and I had it ready on the desk already. I want to apply some stickers and make them look like strawberry sauce. If you watched my ATC video, I also showed you this here. I mixed some glitter with mica powder and just some normal universal glue, and I put the rest in the bottle here, but I think it's gone a bit liquid, so I'm not using this. I'm just using my stickers straight from the bottle, just testing on the side that they're not squirting out too much. So I'm just applying this a little bit here and make it look like it's run down. Bit of a squiggly line and a bit more generous at the top. And obviously when it dries it will get a bit thinner. I'm also using the nozzle just to spread it out a little bit. I hope you can see what I'm doing. Let me zoom in a bit. The daylight's just going, although it's only midday. So just spreading this out towards the top. I'm not squeezing too much out. I'm just using the nozzle at the moment to spread this out a little bit. Now I'm just applying a bit more here, just to make it look like it's run down. And just thinking, well, I need a bit more there. I do like it a bit symmetrical. So, and when this dries, obviously it will lose a bit of the thickness, but I quite like the texture there. I think I will just use my pokey tool just to spread it out a bit more, get rid of the smaller lumps here, the hills. So, and that's the reason why I've already put it on the cardstock so it can dry where it is. I'll put this on foam tape as well, by the way. But obviously you can do this, leave this to dry and then adhere it onto the card. So for the sentiment, I decided to put this across the cone, and that's why I just put the foam pads on either side. And I can sit this across here now, leaving a bit of the cone stick out underneath. Sure, it's the same gap on either side. There we go. Let me zoom out again. Yeah, so this is the second card. It's a bit difficult to see now that the light's gone. But yeah, if you like these 2 cards, you might want to give me a thumbs up. And if you'd like to see more of what I'm creating, I post videos 2 to 3 times a week. You might want to subscribe to my channel. I'd be very happy about that. And I'll see you soon with another video.